Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Green Golf. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying the videos and you like this sort of content, please like, subscribe, share with your friends and family and whatnot. Yeah, getting back to this car, it's been standing for about a week. Had some other projects, some customer work to carry on with. So as you saw in the last video, the front end of the car was straight. I had the car leveled off, chassis rails welded in, front panel welded in, body filler done there. Front section's waiting on primer. So from there, we're shifting over back to the rear here. Obviously, the fender is very badly crinkle cut and whatnot, but the structure's straight. The boot lid is, or the hatch is opening and closing correctly. That door is also doing the same thing there. So what I've already done is I've stripped this fender panel. Obviously, it's got a bit of rust down here, but we'll sort that out with some filler and that. It was a little bit damaged here, but I have dressed that section more or less. So we are basically going to cut off this existing green panel and graft this one in here. As you can see, I've drilled out the spot welds along here. Got a very fancy spot weld removing bit. They ain't cheap, but yeah, works bloody well. So I'm very happy with the progress of that. So yeah, I'm gonna get cracking removing that now. I've pre-drilled some of the holes down the back here just to check it out when I got the bit, and I was quite happy with it. So yeah, I thought let me try it out on the damaged panel and not, you know, make a hash of the panel that I want to save. So that was the idea with that. But yeah, so now I'm gonna tackle this, get it off, and then it's a matter of getting that one back in place, lining it up, dressing all the leading edges that we can then start welding. So yeah, that's where we are now. Let's see if we can get this panel on today still. Don't know if we'll get to filler, but who knows? If it goes well and there's not too many hiccups along the way, maybe we'll get filler on today. I don't know. Let's see. Hey guys, so you can see I've cut the outer panel, the damaged panel off, and what it does now, it exposes the spot welds on the inside because they're a little bit, I scuffed it down with some sandpaper to try expose the weld. So it's obviously hidden very, very well when it was manufactured in the factory. So what I've done there is basically, yeah, like I said, just cut it off just to expose the spot welds so that I can just match them up and then drill them out from the inside and get the remaining piece off, so that I can then put the new panel on. So that's the reason for doing that one. And this one on the inside here, I've been drilling out. These ones are quite noticeable because obviously it gets covered by this rubber. So once it's on, you don't see it. So these ones aren't finished off as nicely as these exposed ones at the back. So yeah, down this section, if you look in the back, there's a double plate with the striker pin bracket. So that's essentially triple paneled over here. So when you look on the new one, or the used one that I'm putting on, you spin it around, it's quite noticeable. There's your extra panel, and then obviously your striker thread or captive nut is in there. So then it's spot welded down there, and then it's one skin, two skins, and then the inner frame skin, so it's triple layered at that point. And yeah, you can see on this section here, the inner wheel well, the substructure, still a little bit of a dent here. So once we've got this all cleaned off and all these sharp edges are gone that I don't cut my hands to bits, I'll dress this out and, you know, panel beat with a 4-pound hammer or something, get that structure more or less. It's rubberized on the inside, so when you look at it from the inside, it doesn't even look like it's been touched. So update time. I've got most of the fender off. The only thing left to still get off is this little bottom section here, which is spot welded from the bottom into the arch. I'm going to have to take the wheel off, and then the bottom section over here. The tricky part down in this section here, let me just grab the camera. The tricky part here is you've got the frame from the inside coming out, and then the fender lay on top of that, and then it gets spot welded down to this surface, and then the back panel goes on top of that. So it basically, the fender lay in there from the far side, and then at this point it tucks behind the back panel and goes down here, and then this bottom section as well is welded onto that panel. So basically that extending further down there, that gets welded on first, and then the back panel comes on from the back. Not replacing the back panel is that you've got to butcher the back corner a bit, and then obviously you've got to then neaten it up with some filler work afterwards. So I'm contemplating, do I just leave this cut here and trim that panel to fit, and then just weld it up and do a little bit of filler, because this is all covered by the bumper. But if you look from the inside, you'll see a weld, and not that anyone should be looking from the inside, but yeah, anyway, I'm gonna put some thought into that. And then, as you can see here, there's still quite a, this car was really driven on a dirt road, but you can see here, this is a bit wavy, this section here, so there's still a bit of a ding there, so that all just hits out from the inside. Now I want to take the wheel off. And then yeah, basically what I did is I just trimmed the paint off with the flap wheel. So when you weld, you obviously, if the paint's there, it's going to mess with your weld, and you're not going to get a good weld. But it's a trick that I've picked up for a while, and I've seen a lot of other YouTube car rebuilders use it as well. And I've seen a couple of guys in the panel shops. You know, it seems to be a pretty common industry trait. Is when I strip that panel, you cut that longer than what you need here. So when I cut that one off of the donor car, I cut it about a centimeter or 10 millimeters under that line. So I've got a bit of overlap. So when I trim it to fit, the overlap section that I cut off, I then place under here, spot weld it in place. So when you weld, you're not welding with an open cavity behind. You've got a piece of metal there just to give you a little bit more thickness. Obviously when you're welding, this plate is very thin, so you can burn through the plate quite quickly and then just make holes, and then it ends up looking like Swiss cheese. So by putting that plate up there, it just gives you a little bit more meat when you're welding, so it doesn't burn through as easily. Guys, so yeah, lunch break done. Nothing better than a Red Bull and a chicken wrap. Does the job. Anyway, so I put some thought into it. I'm gonna leave this bottom section here. I'm gonna trim the new panel to meet up with this one. It'll just be a lot neater down here. Keep all the factory sealers and seam seals, and a lot less filler work to do down here. I know it all gets covered by the bumper, but I mean still, if the bumper comes off, I don't want it looking like a dog's breakfast. So I think it'll be a lot neater if I just trim it there. And again, the bumper covers it, so it'll be a little weld line and skimmed over with filler. So I'm gonna rather do that. Hey guys, I was busy with this one now, and I heard my time-lapse camera died, so I'm just busy changing batteries on that quickly. But yeah, basically there, it's on. I've put it on with self-tapper screws, or hex bolts, as you can see. So it's just been screwed on with these. There isn't one up there. But yeah, if you look, one up there, one there, one there, one down at the bottom, and then a couple up the inside, because obviously this panel's wanting to fall away on the inside, so I needed to stay level, so put a few in there. And then here, the back panel had actually come adrift here, and there was filler work done on this section here, so this car's obviously had a bit of a light bump in the rear. But if you close everything up, the gaps seem to be pretty even. Tightens a little bit there, but I think that we'll just get on adjustment. Hey guys, so as you can see in the time lapse, I welded this thing in sections. You can probably see from the heat marks here how I welded that section, and then that section, and that section, and then went back and did the smaller bits. Obviously the heat signature is a lot smaller. So yeah, went through that section, still got a piece to do there, got a little bit of a burn through there that I must close up, so get back onto that. And then this one, obviously with no paneling underneath, it's prone, this little high spot here is burning through a bit, so I'm going to have to lower the temperature and sort that out. But my little MacGyver job here. Instead of pulling the whole interior out, I've managed to get these panels in here, so obviously stop the sparks from landing inside the car and burning stuff. So I'm rather going to put that in there than remove the interior. Obviously it's a lot quicker, and essentially the interior will just have to go straight back in afterwards. So I'd rather just cover it with this. If anything lands here, obviously it will just bounce outside the car. So yeah, so the only part left to do is to weld around the edge here, and then spot weld down the seams. Obviously stitch up this section, get through this. There it's double paneled, so we should be fine. It's just here in the high spots here it's burning through a bit, so I'll just lower the temperature a bit and get that done. And then I'm going to still do the spot welds under here and finish off the back section there. Once that's all done, then we can move to the back. The hatch just needs to be loosened up and repositioned because everything else seems to be lining up quite nicely. And then we'll have to spot weld up the interior here, and then get this bolted down. We'll screw it down. There's our pilot hole there and there. Get it down. I've already tacked the bottom section here, and then tack weld there and there, and then obviously then everything can be ground down. Obviously just smooth this here. I mean, we've got I've hit it with a hammer, so it's got a little bit of a low point, and then we can just skim. Once we ground it here, then we can just skim over with some filler, and then filler or body filler, and then we'll use a filler primer just to fill up all the scratches left from the production paper or the sandpaper that we use to sand the body filler. Yeah. Hey guys, so I've got 90% of this thing welded. It's gotten very late on me, so it's a Sunday as well, so I don't want to be after dark. So yeah, need to get home and see the missus and whatnot. So yeah, it's all welded along here, all welded down there, in there, through there. The only thing left to weld is a little bit up the back here and some finishing off some on the inside there. So it's not a hell of a lot, but yeah, it'll probably take me another hour to sort that out. And I've ground down the bottom side and that side, and then we just need to grind this down, neaten up the inside. I've leveled out the door here so that the gap is pretty good, well, damn good. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I've used my plastic board here just to stop the sparks going inside, so it worked out alright. So for now, yeah, we'll just chuck the wheel back on, put it back in its parking bay, and yeah, until we can find some more time to work on it. But yeah, I think it's going to be like a little car once it's back together. I've had a couple of city golfs, and these fuel injection ones really skip, so they're like a fun to drive, so I enjoy them. But yeah, for now we'll call it quits, and like I said, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers guys.